Two people. Two salaries. One life. So why do they feel more broke than ever? Meet Aram and Aisha. Both educated. Both working. Both earning well. When they got married, everyone said the same thing. Double income. Your life is set. And honestly, it felt true. First salary? Celebration. Second salary? Upgrade. A bigger apartment. A better sofa. A faster internet plan. Life wasn't just comfortable. It was evolving. At first, everything made sense. Aram paid the rent. Aisha handled groceries and bills. Still money was left. So they thought, why not live a little better? And that's when the shift began. Not dramatic. Not sudden. Silent. Almost invisible. The old phone. Still working. But slow. So Aram upgraded. Aisha saw it and thought, I deserve one too. Now 2 new phones. Monthly EMI added. No problem, they have 2 incomes. The small car? It worked fine. But not comfortable enough. So they upgraded. A bigger car. Better seats. Higher status. And of course, a bigger monthly payment. Vacations. Before, once a year. Now, every few months. Because, why not? We earn enough. Let's pause for a second. Imagine this. Aram earns $800. Aisha earns $800. Total, $1,600. Expenses before. Rent, $400, foods, $300 other, $200 total. $900 savings. $700 sounds perfect, right? Now watch this. After upgrades. New rent, $700 car EMI, $300 phones EMI, $100 food, $400 subscriptions, dining $300 total, $1,800 wait. Their income is $1,600. But expenses? $1,800. They are now losing $200 every month. But here's the scary part. They don't realize it immediately. Because for a while, they use savings, then credit cards, then buy now, pay later. Everything feels normal. Until one day. It's late at night. The room is quiet. Aram is staring at his phone. Bank balance, almost zero. Credit card, maxed out. Aisha walks in. Salary just came, right? He nods. Then where did it go? Silence. Because deep down, they both know. They are not poor. They are not unemployed. They are not irresponsible. So why does it feel like they're drowning? Because no one told them this. More income doesn't fix money problems. It hides them. And sometimes it makes them worse. This is called the 2-income trap, where both people work harder, earn more, but somehow end up with less freedom. Here's how the trap works. When one person earns, you build life around necessity. When 2 people earn, you build life around possibility. And that is where things go wrong. Because possibility has no limit. You keep upgrading, keep spending, keep adjusting your life to match your income. And slowly, without noticing, your life becomes dependent on both incomes. Which means losing even one income is not uncomfortable. It's disastrous. If this is opening your eyes, consider subscribing to Xiron Finance. Because what comes next might shock you. But here's the real question. What happens when life doesn't go as planned? What if one salary disappears? Suddenly, unexpectedly, completely. That's where the real trap begins. And trust me, it's far worse than you think. It starts on a normal day. Nothing dramatic. Nothing unusual. Just a phone call. Aram looks at the screen, and his face changes. A pause. A deep breath. Then silence. Aisha notices immediately. What happened? Aram tries to stay calm. But his voice gives him away. I lost my job. For a moment, the world stops. Not because they don't have money, but because their entire life was built on 2 incomes. The next morning feels different. Same house. Same furniture. But everything feels heavier. The rent is still $700. The car EMI is still $300. The phones still need $100. Bills don't pause. Life doesn't pause. Only income does. Aisha tries to stay strong. It's okay, we'll manage. But deep inside, a question starts growing. How? Let's break this down. Before, total income, $1,600 expenses, $1,800, they were already losing $200 monthly. Now, income, $800 expenses, still $1,800 loss, $1,000 every month. This is not a small problem. This is a financial emergency. At first, they try to adjust. No eating out. No shopping. No vacations. They cut everything they can. But here's the harsh truth. Most of their expenses are fixed. They can't just cancel rent. They can't return the car. They can't undo the lifestyle overnight. This is where the trap tightens. Because when your lifestyle is built on two incomes, you don't just lose money when one disappears. You lose stability. Days pass. Then weeks. RM is applying everywhere. No response. Or worse, rejections. The pressure builds. Not just financially, but emotionally. Small things turn into arguments. Why did we even buy this car? You agreed to it too. We should have saved more. You were the one spending. It's not really about the car, or the phone, or the money. It's about fear, uncertainty, and regret. Because now they see everything clearly. All those upgrades weren't upgrades. They were commitments. Every EMI is a promise to the future. A promise that says, we will keep earning. But life doesn't sign that contract. Here's the twist most people don't expect. Two incomes don't just increase spending. They increase risk. Let me explain. When one person earns, you naturally stay cautious. You think twice. You save more. You avoid unnecessary risks. But when two people earn, you feel safe. Almost too safe. So you take bigger decisions. Bigger house. Bigger car. Bigger lifestyle. Because in your mind, if something goes wrong, we still have the other income. But here's what no one tells you. Problems don't come one at a time. They come together. Job loss. Health issues. Family emergencies. Unexpected expenses. And suddenly, that backup income is not enough. Back to Aram and Aisha. 1 month passes. Then 2. Savings? Gone. Credit cards? Over limit. Stress? At its peak. One night, Aisha sits alone. Bills spread across the table. She looks at the numbers again and again, trying to find a solution. But there's none. Because the problem isn't temporary. It's structural. Their life is too expensive for one income. And that's the real danger of the two-income trap. It doesn't fail slowly. It fails suddenly. Everything looks fine until one day it isn't. And by the time you realize it, it's too late to easily fix. If this feels uncomfortable to hear, that's because it's real. And if you're starting to see your own life in this story, that awareness can change everything. But here's the bigger question. Is the solution to avoid two incomes completely? Should one person just stop working? Or is there a smarter way to use two incomes without falling into this trap? Because what most people get wrong is not earning more. It's how they build their life around it. In the next part, we're going to break something surprising. A simple shift that can turn two incomes from a trap into a powerful advantage. And once you see it, you won't look at money the same way again. For a long time, people believed the problem was simple. Two incomes cause overspending. So the solution must be, earn less. But that's not just wrong, it's dangerous. Because the truth is, two incomes are not the problem. They are actually one of the most powerful financial advantages you can have. The real problem is this. Most people don't use two incomes. They depend on them. And that changes everything. Let's go back to Aram and Aisha. Right now they're stuck. Not because they earn less, but because they structured their life in the wrong way. Their mistake wasn't buying a car. It wasn't upgrading their house. It wasn't even spending more. Their real mistake was this. They turned both incomes into survival money. Let me explain this clearly. There are only two ways to use income. Survival growth survival money pays for. Rent, food bills, basic living growth money builds. Savings, investments, freedom, security. Now here's the shift that changes everything. In a smart financial system, only one income should handle survival. The second income should be used for growth. Pause for a second. Read that again. Because this is where most people go wrong. They combine both incomes and build a lifestyle around the total. So instead of, let's live on one income, they think, we earn more so we can spend more. And that decision quietly removes all financial safety. Now imagine a different scenario. Same couple, same income, but a different strategy. Aram earns $800. Aisha earns $800. Instead of combining, they separate the roles. Aram's income, survival rent, $400 food, $300 other, $100 total, $800 Aisha's income, growth savings, $300 investments, $300 emergency fund, $200. Now look at the difference. If Aram loses his job, yes, survival is affected, but they still have savings, investments, emergency fund. They have time. And time is the most valuable asset in a crisis. But in their original life, they had none, because everything was already spent. This is the hidden power of two incomes. Not lifestyle, not luxury, but resilience. And here's the twist. Most people will hear this, understand it, and still not follow it. Why? Because of something deeper than money. Psychology. When both people earn, there's a natural urge to enjoy it, to reward yourself, to feel progress. Saving doesn't feel like progress. Investing doesn't feel exciting. But upgrading your life? That feels real. And that's why the trap is so powerful. It doesn't feel like a mistake. It feels like success. Until reality hits. Back to Aram and Aisha. Imagine if they had followed this rule from the start. The job loss would still hurt, but it wouldn't destroy them. There would be no panic, no sleepless nights, no desperate calculations at midnight. Just a plan, a buffer, a path forward. That's the difference between living on two incomes and relying on two incomes. If this is making you rethink how you handle money, consider subscribing to Xiron Finance. Because most people never learn this until it's too late. But wait, there's one more layer to this. And it's even more surprising. Even if you follow the one income survival rule, you can still fall into the trap. Yes, even smart people make this mistake. Because the system can break in a completely different way. Not from overspending, not from job loss, but from something far more common. Something almost every couple ignores. And when it happens, it doesn't just affect money. It affects relationships, decisions, and long-term stability. In the next part, we'll uncover the final piece of the puzzle. The silent factor that turns financial strength into hidden weakness. And once you understand it, you'll see why most dual-income households never truly feel secure. There's one more truth, and this one is uncomfortable, because it's not about money. It's about people. Most financial advice talks about numbers, income, expenses, savings, but almost no one talks about behavior, control, decision-making. And that's exactly where the final trap hides. Let's go back, one last time, to Aram and Aisha. Imagine this. They learned the lesson. They changed their system. They decided, okay, we'll live on one income. Things start improving. Slowly. Stability returns. Stress reduces. But then something subtle begins to happen. Aisha is earning, but most of her money is going into savings, investments, emergency funds. Aram is paying for daily life. Rent, bills, groceries. At first it feels fair, logical, even smart. But over time a thought quietly enters the mind. Aisha thinks, I'm saving all the money, but I don't feel like I'm enjoying it. Aram thinks, I'm paying for everything. Why does it feel like I'm carrying the load? No one says it out loud. Not at first. But the feeling grows. Slowly. Silently. This is the final layer of the two-income trap. It's not just financial imbalance. It's emotional imbalance. Because money is never just money. It's tied to effort, identity, control, freedom. And when two people earn, but don't align on how that money is used, problems begin. Not instantly, but eventually. Small disagreements. Different priorities. Hidden frustrations. One wants to invest more. The other wants to enjoy life now. One thinks long-term. The other feels restricted. And suddenly, it's not just about money anymore. It becomes, who decides? Who sacrifices? Who benefits? This is where many dual-income households break, even if they are financially stable, because they solved the math, but ignored the mindset. So what's the real solution? It's not, spend less. It's not, earn more. And it's definitely not, only one person should work. The real solution is this: clarity, agreement, system. Clarity means both people understand the full picture. Income, expenses, goals. No secrets, no confusion. Agreement means you both decide together what matters more. Lifestyle today or freedom tomorrow? And how much of each? Because there is no perfect answer, only a shared decision. And finally, system. A simple structure like this: one income, survival, second income, split into some for growth, some for enjoyment. Yes, enjoyment matters. 2. Because if you ignore it completely, the system will break emotionally. So instead of extremes, you create balance. Save smart, spend consciously, grow steadily, and most importantly, stay aligned. Because the real danger was never two incomes. It was building a life that depends on both without a plan. Let's come back to the beginning. 2 people, 2 salaries, 1 life. Now the question is different. Will that life become a trap? Or will it become your greatest advantage? That choice is not about how much you earn. It's about how you think, how you decide, and how you build together. If this changed the way you see money, consider subscribing to Xiron Finance. Because understanding money is the first step to controlling it. And once you control it, you don't just earn more. You live free.